So happy to have you here. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to share some of your SEO expertise. We obviously have met in person. We nerded out about our shared love for SEO a little bit, but for those who may not know you and are brand new to you, can you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. I I work at JNAP in the marketing services, so for Jane websites specifically, and part of our marketing services are website builder plus management and SEO and social media. We call it social plus and Google Ads. So we have four core kind of like marketing services, and I joined the team in February of last year, so just over a year now. And it has been an incredible kind of journey working with the amount of clinics that we get to work with. When I started, it was like 150 clinics with SEO, and now it's over 250. And the best part about that is like getting to look at the trends in the data that happens when you work on SEO, as you know, right? When you're in Search Console and Google Analytics and other keyword tools, and it's just really great to be able to work with so many kind of clinic owners every single month and to be able to help such a large kind of group of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you and I could probably talk about the nerdy details of everything and looking at data and analytics and stuff like that. But I know a lot of people, a lot of therapists in private practice I'm talking to, sometimes they like to know the analytics, but mostly they want to know, is it working or not? And so, what are the things you're looking into? What are some of the strategies you're implementing with the clinic owners that you manage SEO for? Like, what are the biggest things people should be paying attention to with SEO generally?
I mean, my core belief is that, the clinic owner, the practitioner, has the expertise and the deep knowledge and the experience, with decades or however long they've been practicing. And if we can kind of not replicate, but if we can translate that experience and uniqueness onto the website, onto their online presence, not just their website, but other places. But if we can capture their voice, their experience, their insights, and put that onto the website, then that's my core belief is to meet with clinic owners, hear them talk about their services, their individual services, the transformations that they've seen, throughout their years working with people. And if we can get that onto the website and start reflecting who they are and reflecting their practice, in my opinion, that's kind of SEO that's always going to win. And coincidentally, it's a people first approach and to such a technical and data driven industry.
Yes, yes, because yeah, there's lots of tech language I didn't even know when I was starting off learning what this is. Like a keyword makes about enough sense, but to track things like impressions and clicks and
Mhm.
meta tag, like it's so easy to get lost in just the language of it all. But yeah, it's ultimately a people first marketing of like how does someone know what they're looking for, who they're trying to attract into their clinic, and how do we make sure their website is the one showing up first? So, what exact strategies do you do once you start to hear, okay, this is what you do, these are the transformations you help? How do you translate that into you're going on someone's website for the first time? What do you start with?
Totally. And I want to add a little piece about my background because you mentioned it gets technical so fast. And, as soon as you get past keywords, it gets technical. So my background is like, I was actually an organic vegetable farmer for like 5 years. And before that, I was in kind of trades and forestry. And I decided to learn SEO, but like on my own. I never worked at an agency before starting a freelance business. And I just decided to learn SEO because I saw it could bring value. And I think that has been good because I'm able to come into this industry now with kind of a grounded approach, right? Like it gets technical so quick. And I think that's almost a way of, for the SEO agencies to keep prices high, right? To keep
Yeah.
jargon, like, you know what I mean? It
Hmm.
seems like it's a specialty kind of offering or service that is hidden in some magical stuff, but it's learnable, as you know, right? You learned it, I learned
Yep.
it, and it's repeatable. There's patterns, which brings us to, like, what are the patterns that I look for immediately? And what we've seen working with the hundreds of clinics every month is, I know we're going to talk about Google Business Profile as well, and I think Google Business Profile, your website, and your social media, your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever kind of social media presence you have, these are like the core things. I find that Google Business Profile is kind of like the compass that sets the direction for, you know, it's the core Google product, right? So
Hmm.
it's your first impression to tell Google what you do. And, a lot of AI models use Google's history of the internet to kind of reference things and learn from. So when I say Google, I'm really referring to any kind of information, the major sources, whether that's ChatGPT or Bing or Google. It's like it's kind of used interchangeably from my perspective. But the first things I look at are your Google Business Profile, specifically your primary category, if you have any secondary categories set, and then if you list out all the services you offer. So individual counseling, for instance, is a service, but within that service, there's, like, teen counseling, anxiety, trauma, PTSD, relationship counseling for individuals. So there's these branches within a service.
Hmm.
And the first thing to do is to break those up on Google Business Profile, right? You can have up to 9 categories, I think. One primary, and then under those categories, you can list the services that match those categories. From there, we make sure that they exist on your website as well. So that kind of matching individual services on your website as well as individual services on your Google Business Profile, that's like the key first things. And they take time, to set that up, but that is what we look for. Google Business Profile, making sure it's all set, and websites. And what we find most of the time are not individual service pages built on either both of those platforms. So those are the two quickest, easiest things for business owners to kind of take advantage of.
Yeah. Exactly, because there are people who know exactly what they are looking for. They know they're looking for trauma therapy, couples counseling, whatever that might be. And so the more you have in Google Business Profile and on your website dedicated sections to that, you become easier to find for those people.
Absolutely. Especially if they're searching in Google Maps. And
Mm-hmm.
um, we have found that the more specific and the more kind of niche that of an offering that you provide, it may not have a lot of searches, right? But the ones that do search, and you have that listed in your description on Google Business Profile and in an individual service and the description of that service and your website, then, you know, you get found for these niche kind of topics. And typically it's for people who are really searching for something that they're struggling with. And if you can show up for that, then you're able to help them and have a really, good impact. And that's what we ultimately want to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
right? With all of our clinic owners.
Yes, yes. I'm really curious to get your thoughts on this because I have conversations with clinic owners all the time around I know what I do, and we have even our psychological language to it of like what we would call what we do. And so as we talk about keywords of what are the keywords we put in the business profile on our website, keywords have, I think, always been hard for some people to know exactly what to put in. Of, do I do um, therapy for high achieving professional women versus do I do therapy for anxiety? Like, what have you seen generally perform best in terms of that specificity versus more like general, as well as do you see AI changing the whole like SEO keyword approach that we've historically been taught?
Sorry, the second part of that was, do I see what AI changing the
Mm-hmm.
historical keyword approach?
Yeah, because that's what I've heard a lot of that, of like keywords don't matter anymore. And I know
Mm,
the search engine tool I use now changes a lot of how we see like the volume of search keywords. And so there's this, I think,
mhm.
misunderstanding of keywords these days, of like how important they are. So yeah, I like to ask multiple questions at once. So you can answer the first one or the second one.
I'll go for both. I think for the um, where do we put this language and how do we choose where to put it, right? I think the homepage of your website and the Google business description of your business are your catch-all pages, right? You have your homepage, your general services page, and your about page that all get to kind of talk generally about who you help, how people can receive help, like your availability, if there's online booking, if it's by appointment only, if there's walk-ins, general information. There's places on your website like your homepage, about page, and services, general services page, and your Google business description. But then when we start talking about specific pages, right? Like for instance, divorce counseling is, that's a phrase that people are searching, right? You don't necessarily need your primary category to be divorce counselor, right? In Google Business Profile, but if you have a service listed with a description and on your Google Business Profile, plus a dedicated web page on divorce counseling, and through divorce counseling, there could be other family relationships. Kids could be affected as well, right? Which would lead into adolescent counseling or, co-parenting counseling support.
Mhm.
These are individual pages that can exist on your website and individual services that can be listed in your business profile with descriptions. And this kind of getting it like down at this granular level is super important. And I think the keywords happen naturally, right? Like um as we're just talking right now, we have said so many keywords that people probably look up, right? And yeah, I mean, the AI and the keyword tool, which one do you use? I'm curious. SEMrush or Ahrefs, or a different one?
I learned Uber Suggest. I tried
Uber
playing
Suggest.
around with SEMrush, I think, a little bit, and there's a lot in it. So I feel like I would need a lot more training to use that one. And I think, which one do you all use?
We use Ahrefs,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the biggest competitor. And to your point, I've noticed like what I've noticed about these tools is like they're great for kind of exploring new content ideas.
Yeah.
But I find Google Search Console to be the best indicator of like what people are actually typing in to find your business. And for clinic owners, practitioners, business owners who don't know, like Google Search Console is free and you connect your website, um, and then it starts tracking data, and it tracks, as you mentioned earlier, the impressions, the phrases that people are searching, or the queries, sorry, the phrases people are searching in the search bar that your website is getting listed for. Those are, from our approach, we use Google Search Console as a source of truth and our keyword tool as like a guide for content ideas and to see what content are like, you know, competitors are publishing, and who's linking to our website, which like chambers of commerce and directories and other businesses that are linking to our competitors. We use those tools to kind of figure out the gaps. Where can we get listed in our local area or our provincial or state level? um, and I haven't yeah, I don't know how AI is really affecting keyword, other than if are you yeah other than the way that they use keywords, right? They use these long, very long phrases sometimes. Yeah, it is affecting it for sure. But I like to just focus on what I have control of.
Mhm.
And I don't know about your experience, but what I my core belief through this all is that um, the fundamentals of SEO that have existed for 20 years, that the same people have been preaching, that I've been doing this for like 4 years now. And in my opinion, the SEO fundamentals are what are like is what's helping businesses succeed with AI visibility as well.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to veer too far from the core kind of SEO strategies and fundamentals.
Mhm. Yeah, because I know again these SEO and I guess now AIO agencies are doing a really good job with their marketing and being able to say like SEO is dead and AI is taking over. Like I think almost instilling some fear of you
Mhm.
have to give us all your money to rank well to get clients or patients. When again, just that's literally not true. Like some of the fundamentals that you're talking about of checking this free Google Search Console tool, seeing how you're already being found, seeing from some of these other keyword tools like what's a content strategy that you can come up with. Like all of that can be free or low cost and still very, very effective, which I think people hear SEO and AI and just think it's scary, but actually it's not that scary. It's just slightly different language. Sometimes you might have to you will learn a little bit of a new language, and that's maybe exciting for some of us and maybe not so exciting for others.
Yeah, and I think it is changing, and I think that's part of the like it's changing, and the way that businesses appear in searches and the way that people are searching, it's definitely affecting the way we behave online. Um, but we just got to monitor, as people who do SEO, we just have to monitor and just keep making sure that those fundamentals are being used in the results that appear. And I talk with business owners all the time, and they ask, are you doing, what are we doing for AI? And I'll just do a quick check. I'll be like, let's pull up whoever you use, right? Perplexity or ChatGPT or Claude. And let's just do a quick search like whiplash chiropractor, or, in for therapists, right? Like EMDR therapy near me. And if we've done a good job optimizing their online presence over the last 8 months, most of the time we see them as the first results, right, in these AI so we're working off like go and search your business in like kind of industry or specific service in your neighborhood and see if you pop up. And if you don't, then there's a broader conversation we can have about like the heading structure on your website, the meta title, meta description, right? Like if you're using Search Console, okay, you have all that information, but how do you use it to your advantage? And that's when we start getting into kind of more technical SEO talk, right? But
Yes.
it's a recipe and it's a pattern, and people can learn it if they want to.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I don't remember if this was earlier this year, maybe towards the end of last year. I was on one of the webinars that you were presenting on this topic of, this ultimate formula of what type of service do you provide or what type of provider are you and where are you located? Like if you can combine those over and over again, you are likely to, show up when people are looking for you. So it can be that simple. And again, the website and all the technical things you were just mentioning, I want to come back to the Google business profile part because you're saying that's really important too. And I agree I agree with that. Something we were chatting about before this was this big question of how essential is a Google business profile? Because I hear either a lot of people who have virtual businesses really struggle with they can't get theirs verified because of the virtual address or lack of address, or some people even don't want to set up a business profile because they don't want to get bad reviews. And so I guess just this bigger question of, is this ultimately essential for a clinic owner? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you bring up great points. And yeah, I've met a handful of people as it's, I think, that don't want a business profile at all. They're, worried about negative reviews. And whatever the preference, I think it's fine. I think for fully virtual clinics, this is something that we are, looking into actively as part of Jane website's SEO, how we advise, clinic owners with these types of questions. And we have some virtual only clinics that have Google business profiles. We also have some that struggle to get verified. And we have some that don't want a profile at all. And we have, so we do have a bit of mix of everything. And I think it's, Google's official stance is if you are an online business only, a virtual business only, then you're ineligible for a Google business profile. That is the official stance. And, but they do have this option for service area business. And typically it's for like a trades like plumbers or, where roofers, where they don't have people come and visit them, they service an area. That's who that kind of function is built for. However, if you're like a virtual therapist, you provide telehealth, you have a home office, and if by chance you do see somebody every now and again in your local area in person, I think that could qualify. And you can set up your profile as a service area business, and you can hide your address from the public, and you can get verified. There is a verification process now. Google requires video pretty much, and it has to be like, I think, a minute and a half. You have to be logged into the Google account that your profile is set up on, right? With the mobile, it has to be a continuous video. And if you're at a home office, it's probably best to kind of start at the front door and walk into your home office. Ideally, you have a little sign or something, right? You have branding, you have a home office set up, you have your virtual clinic, you have certificate, like your office behind you, right? And you submit that, and you could get verified. I think for virtual businesses only, it's probably not your best. It's not where you should focus, in my opinion. And because Google Maps, Google Business Profile is for local SEO. It's they don't want to see people with hidden addresses, and like they'll actually like they won't show you if you know what I mean. Like there's studies that come out all the time with companies that test these things. If you hide your address, if you there's so many different things. Like if you use a virtual address of you purchase like a virtual you'll get penalized. It's like Google really wants that maps function, directions. They really want to be rewarding local businesses. So for a virtual clinic, I think the biggest opportunity is your website getting province or state specific pages. Get really honing in on the individual service pages, and also your social media as well. Those are, I think, more important than Google Business Profile. But I do think it's good to have the business profile if you can set it up as a virtual only, get verified, and you can collect reviews. I know that reviews are also tricky with therapists and psychotherapists and but you're allowed to get reviews, right? People are allowed to review. So I think as like a business card, with reviews, with information, I think it's good to have. But I don't think that's where your business, you're not going to rely on it for your business. I think that the website and the social media is.
Yeah. And I'm
What are
curious.
your thoughts? I'm curious about, what do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I mean similar because I I've worked with a lot of therapists who either have, the address hidden on Google Business Profile or they don't have it at all, but they are still getting clients in because of everything else they've done on their website, to really position themselves as this person who is trustworthy and knows what they're talking about. Um, so I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I think for the person who wants clients more quickly, like some of us are like, oh, it would be nice if referrals were coming in more steadily, versus some people are like, I need clients ASAP. What I have noticed is having the business profile with an address has helped people see their SEO results move more quickly compared to not having the profile at all, or not having the address there. So that's why I encourage people. I'm like, if you have the flexibility, if you have access to all of that, then yes, it will help you. And like you're saying, there's tons of other things that you can do as well to, not rely on that one strategy to be the one thing that's making or breaking your business.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. If you have the capacity to, you know, put your address there and, um, want to show up in your local area, we've seen success with clinics who do that, and you start expanding, like Google pins you down in your current city and neighborhood, and then you build out your kind of like your presence locally, and over time Google will start recognizing your provincial or state specific pages as well. You'll start showing up in different states, in different provinces. So yeah, I if you can, I think it's great, right, to have it. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you've mentioned social media a couple times too, of like that being really important. Is that something you encourage clinic owners to have, like very flushed out social media profiles, or simply just having one that's linked on their website or Google Business Profile?
I think that what we've seen with AI and how it's affected search is that in that webinar you brought up, that Matt and I kind of hosted, we talked about like your surface area online, how many places you exist, right? And that's why we have business pages for Facebook and Instagram and your website, and you get listed in local chamber of commerce. We try to show up in places. But what has also changed in the last 6 months is that social media is showing up in Google search results and being cited in ChatGPT responses. And if you're a local, if you do offer in-person services and you're a local business with a Google business profile, there's even cases where your latest post, like a promotion or yeah, pretty much a promotion, if you share it on social media, it can show up in the maps, like under your business name.
Hmm.
It can, they're like basically these search engines and AI. I see. I don't even know the term. I'm not a very technical person. Whatever these things are, they're
Yeah.
scanning everything, right? And
Yep.
um, I think that having a professional social media presence, whether you're posting monthly or weekly or daily, is important. And we're seeing it integrate with search more. Like Google actually announced, like in the fall last year, like the integration with social media, and then there was a merger between one of these keyword tools, SE ranking, and Planable, which I think is a social media. It's like a social
Mm-hmm.
media company and an SEO company merging because of the connectedness now between social and search. Yeah, I mean, Google Business Profile, you get to post those updates as well, which is kind of like a, it's kind of like a social platform a bit in Google. And actually, what's interesting is if you Google like the LA Lakers or like really popular pop culture, the feeds that you'll see on Google are actually like carousels and their posts and their tweets and their LinkedIn's and their like reels. Like they're actually showing social media results at the top of Google for super popular. So it's kind of like, is it an indicator of where things are going for small businesses? I don't know, but these things are showing up in search results, and um, yeah, I mean, especially for if you can show up, if you can interrupt a scroll and show up with value, with an like something that is can actually help somebody, and be there at that 10 p.m. lying in bed or what, right, like, and
Yeah.
be available for that. I think that's huge. If you can stop the scroll and get a booking or a course or whatever, right? Like if you can be there for somebody when they need it, because the truth is most people are busy working during the day, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's a powerful tool. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And to your point too, like it doesn't have to be, I know a lot of people when they're thinking about growing, whether from like initially growing or scaling their clinics, making them bigger, we don't have time to do everything ourselves. We can get overwhelmed with, some of us might love the SEO stuff and hate social media or vice versa, but you don't have to do all the things, but having at least in this case a social media presence, whether you post once a month or however much you want to post, just simply having that larger digital footprint is helpful, especially for virtual only businesses as we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, the name, address, phone number, just like your core business
Mm-hmm.
information being listed all over the internet, because that's what like ChatGPT and Claude are doing. They're like span, like they're searching all these, all these links, hundreds of them, and figuring out where you exist online. And if your competitors are existing in a bunch of places, it's probably gonna recommend your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is a lot for owners, right? Business owners, whether you're a clinic owner or a trades business owner, like SEO, social media, website, like these things take time, effort, energy, strategy, eyes on the industry. And so it's easy to say, like, to advise people to do it. It's much harder to actually do it. And I think that's why I love working with Jane websites, is because we get to work with these clinic owners and do these things that are such a burden, but they are important for the business. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's only so much time in the day. And if you are doing something, but it's not quite hitting the mark from like the right tech thing or the right approach, like there's nothing worse than feeling like you've wasted time and wasted, in the sense of you wasting time. You could have been seeing another client or patient. So now we're feeling like we're wasting money too. So
Yeah.
hiring a trusted person like Jane Websites who can, you all can do it all. You can do the SEO, you can do the social media. That could definitely be helpful for the person who knows what they need to work on but doesn't have the time to work on things.
Yeah. And to your point about the, people who they need to see bookings quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these strategies we're talking about are kind of long-term things, right? Sometimes you make changes to your Google business profile and that can influence the map rankings very quickly. But Google ads are the quickest way to get to the top of those search results and to the top of Google Maps, right? You can pay to be on the map pack, and you can pay to be in the organic search results. And with Google ads, you can track how much money is going in, how much you're spending, sorry, going out, and how many bookings are a result of those ads. So this like attribution to this your investment is easier. Um, could be quicker. There is still like a learning period, right? It could still take 60 days, 60 days for your ad campaigns to really kind of settle and be optimized. But yeah, Google Ads is the quickest way to fill up. I think if you don't have a strong web presence, you're not on Search Console, your website's fairly new, your Google business profile is new, or it's struggling to get verified. Um, you know, ads are your next the next best thing, and it again, these things are really expensive if you go with agencies and freelancers, right? It's like I
Yes.
it's not easy, right? The account setup fees, monthly management fees, then you have to spend on ads, or you learn it all yourself, and which is great. But yeah, that's part of our repertoire as well as Google Ads. It was added this year, and it's really exciting to be able to offer that and to actually, if you can book people at a cost of $50 per booking, and the business
Yeah.
owner knows the profit margins, for that, or if it's $70 or 90 or $30 a booking, it varies. But if you work with a good team and they're transparent about these numbers, and then it's a no-brainer. So SEO, ads, social media, website, Google Business. These are like, this is the core marketing services.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that you all added Google Ads. That's great because I've got people who are always asking for recommendations, and now I've got another wonderful person to refer to.
Amazing. We opened up a beta in October and ran that for a few months, pretty much till January. We had proof of concept. We had great success with the clinics. We had 5, and since then, they've all increased their ad spend, and we've taken on more. I think we slowly take on more. We're publicly announcing it, this year. So I feel comfortable mentioning it right now. But it is we are still kind of like slowly welcoming
Yes.
welcoming people. But it's super powerful when you pair it with SEO and all your other kind of efforts. So
Absolutely. Well, you clearly know your stuff. You've given lots of tips of, easiest things people can change even right now, going into their Google business profile if they have one, updating those services and categories, making sure their websites have individual pages for each service. Are there any other quick tips or high impact things you encourage clinic owners to think about?
I think the primary category is big. Um, Adding secondary categories, filling out your services, filling out the descriptions of those services in your Google business profile, and everything that was talked about on the website. Um, if you want, like, you know, we use a Canadian company called White Spark, and it's very affordable. Business owners can go and run grids, Google Map grids, comparing how they show up against their competitors. There's so many companies like this, softwares that do it, right? But I find White Spark to be easy, affordable, and the visualizations make a lot of sense. You can see how you're showing up on Google Maps compared to your competitors. It's something we offer as our in our SEO program, but like anyone can just go and pay for maps, pay for a map kind of audit, right? Where you're showing up. And then that can help kind of give you let you understand where you actually fall in the pack. And I would run maps for your individual services. You know it might cost you $20 to run 5 different or not even like it. I think it's pretty affordable. I think, yeah, it's really affordable actually, because so you could run maps on 5 of your core services and see how you're showing up in your local region, and then from there, I it's it it's tough. What do you do next, right? But it's always just about making sure that information is on your Google business profile, on your websites, dedicated pages. If you do that, honestly, you're better off than a lot of people on the internet. So,
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And if you don't have the time to do all of it, then reach out to Gabe at Jane Websites and he'll take care of you.
exactly. The
Cool.
Jane websites, we every single month, we do this for all the clinics that we manage. It's Google Search Console, Google Analytics, Whitespark for Google Maps, grids, um, and Ahrefs. We have 4 core softwares that we use, and AI has been incredible. I'm not sure if you've got to experiment with like MCPs, um, but so Claude or ChatGPT, you can give it access to Search Console, Analytics, SEMrush or Uber Suggest or SE Ranking, and it can actually go and look at the data and accurately, and then you just chat with it and then make, recommendations based on what it knows about you, your philosophy, your beliefs, your strategy. And so AI has been able to help us, with these softwares to make data informed decisions based on our personal beliefs or and it's helped us out tremendously. It's helped us kind of reach more people and be able to serve more people consistently every single month with like you know proven, yeah, with like a structure, right? So super exciting over here at Jane Websites right now this year.
Yeah.
We're really excited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I'll be excited to see you all roll out more and just to hear, hopefully, that lots and lots of people continue to reach out to work with you. I know I'll be sending a lot of people your way after this.
Well,
Um,
appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. I know you're going to give me information that we can link in the show notes. So that'll be a nice way for people to learn more information, as well as I know you all have Jane Websites. You're on Instagram. Are you on anywhere else? Where should people follow more information where they can learn any tips or resources that you offer?
Yeah, the best place to get a general sense of what we do is janewebsites.com. Um, yeah, and we have all of our pages, SEO, social, they're on there. Ads isn't on there yet, but that's the best place to get in touch, and then we'll provide a link in the show notes. Yeah, for a way to get in touch with me and my colleagues, Jason and whatnot, if you want to chat further.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all these tips and for your time today, Gabe. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Amanda.